welcome to Tim Conley Drums. Well, have I got a story for you? There was a time when I entered a band competition. So basically, it was similar to, if you ever watched that show where In Excess was looking for a singer, and they went through a variety of people. It's kind of like, American Idol, but for bands, where they were looking for a singer. It was, I don't know, like maybe 12, 13 years ago this show was on. And In Excess found J.D. Fontana as their, or J.D. Fortune, sorry, as their singer, and they hired him and they went off and toured, and J.D. was a member of In Excess. Amazing. Well, shortly before that show, I was involved in a similar thing, except it wasn't a TV show. It wasn't an international thing where everybody got to watch it, but I was involved in a competition where a band was looking for a drummer. And they decided to audition, but in the audition, they decided to make it like a competition. So it was kind of like the In Excess thing, except without all the exposure. So you auditioned as a group, like let's say they had, I don't know, I can't remember the numbers. 25 people come out and they whittled it down to 2 people, and then they picked their winner from there, right? So I have to admit something though, guys, which is really unfortunate. I absolutely wish I could remember, but I cannot remember any of the people's names involved in this. Now, normally I don't mention a lot of names, as I've stated in my other videos. I don't give up names willingly in most cases, unless it's a positive thing. Now, this is a positive thing, but I legitimately can't remember anybody's name, so I apologize, because it happened, I would say this was around 2009 or 10, something like that. So it was quite a while ago that this happened. And please, you guys are gonna laugh at me, but please bear with me when I'm giving you the details, because I'm doing it all from memory. There's no script. I never do any of these videos with a script. I literally just turn my camera on, turn my lights on, turn the mic on, do a quick test of the audio shot, the video shot, and then the audio, and then I just get up here and I start talking. And only if the complete audio fails or the video fails or whatever, this is what you get. It's very simple the way that I do it, because I want it to be as raw and authentic as possible. So, let me tell you about this story. I found out through my agent and also a few other people that messaged me and said, hey, there's this competition in this town, which is not far from me. It's called Hagersville. And in this town, they're doing a competition. A band is looking for a drummer. Now, it's not just an ordinary band. The band was completely unknown. They're a new band. However, the lead singer in the band, as I found out, was a WWE wrestler. Now, this is the part where you're going to get annoyed with me, because I can't remember his name. But as soon as I saw him and was introduced to him, I knew exactly who he was. So he was a famous wrestler in the day who decided to start a band. Because he's a famous wrestler, he has connections. So he already had a record deal set up. He already had an extensive tour set up, and he had his musicians, except a drummer. Now, why a famous wrestler comes to a small town west of Hamilton, I don't know. I don't know why the auditions were held where they were held. They just were. That's all I know. It was in a like a school type setting. That's where they held, because the school had a stage and you performed on stage. And it was a very strange audition right from the get-go. So let me get into the story. So first of all, like I said, I find out about this and I had to sign up for it. Okay. I had to sign up, and they wanted to know about my drumming. It's like a resume. It's like a job application. They wanted video, et cetera, et cetera. So I had all that. I submitted everything. There was nothing in person at that particular moment. So then, I don't know, a week or two later, I get notice from them saying that I have been accepted into the program or the competition to actually show up and audition. Okay, they give me a time, a date, all that. So I practice, I warm up. I have no idea anything about their music. I don't even know what style it is, except, actually, that's not true. I knew it was a rock band. But I didn't know what style of rock. I didn't know what they were going to be doing. I didn't know who was in the band. It's just that it said the whole thing said the band has a record deal, and so they're looking for someone that has studio capabilities, because they're going to use the drummer who wins this competition to play in the studio and go on the tour as well. And it's an extensive tour, because this label, I guess, which is unbelievable. This whole thing is truly unbelievable. A band that doesn't even have a demo or anything, really. I mean, there might have been some demos with a different drummer, but not with the drummer that's in this competition, because the label was taking a major chance, which is almost unheard of. So this wrestler must have really had some influence. He must have really known somebody in the biz or something like that. I actually never really found that out. I should have asked more questions. But anyways, so the whole thing is going to take place in a series of weeks, so like a weekly competition, kind of like, what American Idol does and America's Got Talent and all that stuff. So I show up at the first audition. When I walk in, I meet the manager of the band, a female manager, and she says, "Oh my God, I know you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know her. She says, and this was unbelievable, "You used to play in such and such a band, and you signed my shirt in Halifax." And I'm like, okay, I didn't remember. She was a fan of the band that I was touring with previously, or one of the bands I was touring with previously, and she wanted to let me know that she remembered me. So right away I'm thinking, this is an in for me. Right away I'm thinking, okay, she's actually seen me play. She recognizes me. It's unbelievable. So right away I've got a positive on my side. I've got a fan that I previously signed a shirt for, which like I said, I legitimately did not remember doing that, because you meet so many people when you're out on tour. And I'm going to do a separate video about being on tour and what that whole experience is like. Anyways, okay, so I go in, the first thing I do is I get interviewed. Now, I hadn't met any of the band, just the manager and a few other assistants, and also the people that are organizing the whole competition. So there's like a round table of people, and I'm the only person there that's actually involved in the playing part. And they talk to me and they go over my application and everything, and then they say, okay, well, now the next part after this initial meeting is you're going to go up on stage and everybody's going to get a chance to see you play. Okay, so at first I was kind of confused, like, am I doing a drum solo? Like, how are they doing this? Well, it turns out that I'm doing it with tracks, but they didn't tell me that initially, which is fine. I'm totally okay with playing along with tracks. Luckily, as it was stated in the initial application, must be able to play with a click live and or in the studio. So no problem. They had a full setup on stage with a random song. So the whole thing was they want to hear me play just on my own with a click, no track, just play. Then they want me to play along with a song, but they want me to interpret the song on the fly. I never even got a chance to listen to it. It was literally just throw the song on and play. Now, it turns out that the track was actually very, very straightforward, basic rock form, and I figured it out on the fly almost instantly because it was simple. And that's how they would have to do it. They would have to do it, that it was simple, because how the hell, I mean, if it was complicated and there were shots and there was changes and stops and blah, 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 how would you possibly know without either a chart or listening to the tune? But it was just a straight rock thing. So they just wanted to know, can I play in time with backing tracks and or music, which later translates to, can I play in time with a rock band? Now, I did not know anything about the songs that I was going to be playing with the actual band. I didn't know. But after listening to this track, I assumed it was going to be pretty straight ahead, AC/DC style rock, maybe even simpler. I don't know. So I do my thing, and at the end of the night, you know, they had a bunch of other drummers there, and everybody did their thing, and I found out that I progressed to the next week. Okay, so of course they cut the numbers down. Now, in fairness, I only got to see, I think, maybe 2 other drummers, and I heard them play, but I wasn't actually watching them. I wasn't in the audience, because when you were done your section, you went into a green room, and they were very, they kept control of you. You know, they didn't just let you wander around. They were always talking to you. There was a series of interviews. It was like I felt like I was constantly being interviewed, which is fine. It's a competition, no problem. And then there was some actual interviews that were filmed, but I have no idea where those filmed interviews ended up, because I never saw them, and they didn't end up on TV or anything, so I don't know what happened to those. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. I get to second week, do a similar audition, but this time they had live musicians, but not the musicians who are actually in the band. I hadn't met any of them yet. I didn't know that the singer was a WWE wrestler. I hadn't even met the band, nothing. So I play with a band that they've actually hired to play, and each drummer plays with the band. Again, it's pretty simple tunes, but this time they let me know what the songs were going to be. Okay, no problem. So some Tom Petty, and I think it was some Foo Fighters or something like that. I can't remember. So I play with the band. Again, there's no rehearsal. I had to rehearse on my own at home, listen to the song. I lifted it, but I wasn't allowed to bring the written music that I'd written charts, but I wasn't allowed to bring them on stage. So I wrote out the charts and just rehearsed on my own at home and prepared, and then showed up at the competition and just did my thing, but without my charts. Everything went well. I make it to week 3. Week 3, almost identically the same thing. The only difference in week 3 was there was an audience, so to speak, in the crowd. So there was they wanted to see how I respond to playing in front of an audience. Now, I don't know where this audience came from, whether it was ticketed. Obviously, I wasn't getting paid, so the ticket thing wasn't really a factor for me. There was an audience. And, you know, the only stupid thing for me was I should have asked more questions. I was just kind of going with the flow, and I would ask the obvious questions about the music, about where I had to be, when I had to be there. You know, it was just all pretty straightforward. So then finally I get to the final. I make it all the way to the final. And we do the final, and finally I get to meet the band. I still didn't play with them, but I got to meet them, and they sat in the audience and they watched the finals. So I get up there and, you know, I do my thing again. In the very finals, it was just me and one other drummer with the band that they'd hired. And the band that was actually in the competition, like the In Excess, if you want to call it, the members of that band were in the crowd watching because they wanted to see how we played with the band and how we sounded and all that stuff. They weren't really too concerned about the actual music per se. They were concerned about how I played, how I interacted, was I entertaining, was I good to watch, you know, all those factors, anything like that. So I put on a little bit of a show, and I'm not one to do a lot of stick tricks and fancy flips and all that. Plus, I really didn't think that's what they wanted. Most times, only drummers are entertained usually by the really fancy schmancy stick twirling and all that stuff. You know, kids like to see it and whatnot, but it's not really my thing. I know some stick tricks and stuff, but it's not really my thing. I didn't really focus on that. My focus was on playing well, being in the pocket, keeping it simple. I'm going to do a whole other video about that too. Keeping it simple, the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Or is it keep it stupid, simple? No, I think it's keep it simple, stupid. Anyways, I wanted to keep it simple. So I just did my thing. And lo and behold, I win. I won the competition. I was thrilled. It was a big deal. The band comes up on stage. They all give me a hug, congratulate me. You know, the confetti, the whole 9 yards. I won. So they like I said, they sort of made it feel like a TV show, but it wasn't a TV show. So it was kind of weird. But they made me feel really comfortable and everything. But then they tell me, okay, you're going downstairs into the basement. We've already got a studio set up and you're going to start rehearsals with the band right away. Whoa. Okay. Now, one important thing I forgot to mention is that they gave out a cash prize. I think it was $5,000 to the winner. Cash prize, you get to be in the band. You get to be, photographed with the band, and you're going to be performing on the record. You're going to be touring. You're a member of the band. You're going to become a rock star, because they kept talking about this band as the next big thing and blah, 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 blah. So I go downstairs and, I'm down there and I realize that I know this wrestler. I've seen him before, and I tell him that. I'm like, I've seen you, man. I'm a wrestling fan, and I've seen you wrestle before. And how the heck did you become a singer? So he tells me the story about how he always loved music and singing, and he's retiring from, or he'd already retired. I can't remember if I think he said he was retired from wrestling, and he was interested in pursuing a musical career. And he had some connections, which I knew he did have the connection. He had some connections and he was making it happen. But he has a tie to Canada. He was American, as I recall, but he has a tie to Canada somehow. So that's how he ended up in Canada. I didn't pursue that further. Like I said, I wish I'd asked more questions. So anyways, they present me with my check. Congratulations. Now let's get started on listening to the tune. So I listened to these guys play me a demo first of the first song. And I want to emphasize this. They talked to me about how the serious band, serious songs, really, we take this very seriously. We're going to be the next big thing. You've got to be serious and everything. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm a serious musician, whatever. Okay. They play me the songs. I listened to a few of the songs. My heart sinks. The songs were terrible. Lyrically, a joke. Like my baby's got a big butt and I love that big butt. And I can't remember the songs, but they were just stupid lyric songs. So they play me a couple of these songs and then they say, okay, now let's just play a simple beat and play along with us. So I play along with the band. Another thing I want to mention is they were all chain smoking. I'm a non-smoker. Adamant non-smoker. I can't stand being around cigarette smoke or marijuana smoke. They were all smoking cigarettes and marijuana. Not my scene. I know you're wondering, but dude, you're a musician. You should be around that a lot. Well, it's true. It is a big part of the music scene, but it's not part of my scene. Whenever I've been in bands, I've always tried to ask guys not to smoke and or smoke marijuana around me. It's just my thing. I don't like it. I don't like the smell. I don't want to be high. I'm anti-drugs. And so I I couldn't do anything. I'm at the mercy. I couldn't say to these guys, hey guys, can you not smoke? Can you not drink? Whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that because I just want a competition and I'm just trying to fit in at this point now. But honestly, I didn't like it. So we got two things going on. We got really bad tunes and we got the smoking and I don't know, just the way that these guys were, it wasn't good for me. So I think you guys know where this is heading. We played the tunes. I play with the band. They're not very good musicians. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like I'm in surreal situation because I'm thinking these guys are going to be top-notch pros. Record deal, tour already scheduled. I was supposed to be on the road in 2 weeks. Like, these guys are supposed to be pros. They were terrible. And they were still trying to figure out the arrangements of the songs while they're trying to get me to play. And I've never even heard these songs before. So I really was trying to come up with, listening to the song, what the drummer played, but also, integrating my own things. Plus, I'd only heard these songs for the first time. So, I'm just sort of guessing. The whole thing was a shit show. It was an absolute shit show. I just couldn't believe it. So finally, I run down a few of these tunes. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of breaks. These guys are smoking like crazy. I had to get out of there because I couldn't handle the cigarette smoke. And the dope smoke was just driving me insane. Like I said, it's just not my scene, guys. Nothing against anybody that does that, but it's just not for me. I'm sure you can understand that and appreciate it. So I get out of there and I take a break. I go outside and I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this and whatever. And then I go back in and finally it's over so I could get out of there. And I just had a meeting with the band at the very end. So what'd you think of the songs? I kind of lied to them. Gonna be honest, I kind of lied to them. Oh yeah, it's cool and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I get home, I talk to my wife. Once again, the wife. For those of you out there that have a girlfriend, a wife, a fiance, even a female friend, they're often the voice of reason. Yes, we want to be rock stars. Yes, we want to tour. We want to be on that album. But is it worth being miserable over? Or, guys, you got to remember, I'm going to be on the road with these people, in a bus, in hotels, at the gig, in the green room. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be in the studio. These guys, when you're in a band situation like that, where you're actually a member of the band and you're touring and doing all that stuff, it's like a family. It really is truly like a family. I know it's cliche and you've heard a million guys say that, but it truly is. So get home, talk to my wife, talk to her the next day again. And she says, look, you got to do what you got to do. You have to be able to be happy. You're going to be touring, you're going to be living. She points all the things that I just mentioned out. And I just thought, you know what? I can't do it. And, we really needed that $5,000. I'm not going to lie. At that time, we were struggling a little bit. We needed that money. But I don't know what would have happened had I have taken it. Maybe my life would have gone a completely different path. I never really became a star, I'm not a star drummer. I'm not a star musician. I played in a few bands that had some minor degree of fame, but I never played in bands where, I was a household name or anything like that. Don't even go there. This story is not about me being famous or anything like that. Nothing like that. So I get on the phone, I call the manager up, and I tell her my situation. Of course, she tries to talk me out of it and give it a chance, spend more time. You won, you're cutting your own throat, the whole 9 yards. I'm on the phone with her for like 40 minutes. Then I stick to my guns. I say, I'm sorry, it's done. Then I get a call from the wrestler guy, and he's quite angry. Dude, we spent all this time, blah, blah, blah. And my response was, well, pick the other guy. There was a second guy, a backup drummer. Pick him. I know I won the show, but it's just not for me. And I told him the truth. Can't deal with the smoking, can't deal with the drugs, the booze. I got to live with you guys. I don't know if I can. They just weren't my kind of guys. They were kind of, I don't know, rough around the edges, if you want to call it. I mean, I've been around lots of musicians rough around the edges, but not in this living, touring setting. I just didn't feel like I fit in with them. I was just a different person. I was from a different world than maybe the wrestling world. I don't know. So he's not happy with me. And again, another long conversation. I stick to my guns and I say I'm not doing it. More phone calls followed. I stuck to my guns. In the end, I just said, look, stop calling me. It's done. I'm sorry that this has happened, but find somebody else. Now, I don't actually know what happened. After I was done with them, I returned the money to them and I apologized. I went to the manager, I returned the money, and I again talked to her a little bit more about the situation. And I left feeling actually relieved because I think I made the right decision. Like I said, I don't know, I can't even remember the name of the band. That's the other thing that bugs me. I can't remember the name of the band. I never ever saw this band do anything. I've never seen the band anywhere, never heard of a record deal. I mean, for all I know, it was all a scam. I don't know. I never saw any contracts. I never signed any contracts. That's the other huge thing. Do not sign a contract until you get a lawyer to look at it. When you're doing something that's going to represent a long period of your life plus money for the studio. I mean, I'll do a whole different video on that, but don't sign anything, guys, in a contract without professional help. Man, did I learn that the hard way. That's a separate story in itself. But I never signed anything. I won the competition. I went to the rehearsal and then I went home. They did give me the money. I did sign for the money. But I returned the money and signed that I returned the money as well. So they never came back to me saying, hey, where's our $5,000? They never came back to me. The bottom line was, after it was over, it was over. I was really disappointed that I wasted my time. I'm sure they were disappointed with me because they told me straight up they felt like they completely wasted their time with me. But like I said, go for the second place guy, the third place guy, the fourth place guy, whatever. You're going to have to find somebody else. In the end, guys, I did not do anything with that band, and I never heard from them again. I have no idea whatever happened. I wish I did, but unfortunately I don't have any follow-up information for you. I'm terribly sorry. Now, if anybody out there knows of a WWE wrestler that actually went on to some kind of touring or fame or even just put a record out, and they actually know a WWE lead singer that put some kind of a band out, put it in the comments. Maybe that'll jar my memory. Oh yeah, that's the guy, Jericho or something. Maybe it wasn't King Kong Bundy. I love wrestling, but I had a bad taste with this particular situation. Anyways, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. I want to thank my new subscribers, my new commenters or old commenters. I love the comments. I enjoy reading. I appreciate you guys supporting me with the hand situation. It seems to be getting better. I'm starting to be able to that hurts, but I can start doing some stretching, getting the hand to move, flexibility. And as I mentioned before, I have a video now where you can sign up. You can check that video out, or you can just sign up in my description from this video where you can spend an hour with me. We can do a drum lesson. I can just play. You can watch. You can learn something from me just watching, or we can actually do a lesson. We can talk. I'd be more than happy to tell you some inside secret squirrel stuff that maybe I'm not going to put in a video. There might be some stories and stuff that maybe are a little bit too inappropriate for YouTube. Ooh, that's the good stuff. So if you really want the good stuff, sign up to spend an hour with me and I will give you some of the good stuff. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. And as always, keep drumming. See ya.